Hi, I'm Al Martinez, and welcome to Untrashed. Today I'm going to show you a couple of things. One of them is a little bit outside of Untrashed, and the other one is definitely an Untrashed project. So the first thing we're going to start with is I'm going to show you how to make a copper spoon from some scrap copper tubing. And you can get this from a plumber, because quite often when they install kitchens and stuff like that, they have short pieces of copper tubing, and if you ask them for them, they'll probably happily give it to you. So what I've done, the first thing I've done is I've cut this into the right length of the spoon I'm going to make, and then I put a split down the middle, and the split down the middle I'm going to use to open this up flat. But before we do that, right now when they make this copper pipe, it's what is called work hardening. So this copper pipe is really stiff. So if I tried to open this up the way it is now, I couldn't do it because it's just so hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to anneal it. And by annealing it, what we're going to do is we're going to heat this up with a torch, red hot, and then quench it in water. And what that does is it gets the crystals to just relax. Then it's quite flexible. So we're going to move over here, and I'm going to light this torch. So now I'm going to quench it in water, and see how it's all black? A lot of that's going to pop right off. So now I can handle it. I'm going to dry it off. And then I'm going to show you how easy it is to work now. So I'm going to take this piece of tapered metal and I'm going to open this up slightly. And this makes it a lot easier to flatten. So do that with my hands. Put it on the table here and flatten it. Just going to move over to the stump and use a hammer to flatten this. So this is basically working a little bit like you're working with cardboard. So I've got this into a sheet form now, and now I'm ready to mark out the shape of my spoon. So what I've done is I've made a template, and the thing I like to use is I like to use these pizza boxes to make my template. So that's the shape of the spoon. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to mark this out. So I'm going to put this on here like this. Take my marker. And mark that on the copper. So there you can see that that's the shape of the spoon. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this out. So there's a couple of ways you can cut this out. One of them, if you have these kinds of tools, is a jeweler saw. And this jeweler saw I use mostly to do things like this because it's a little bit more accurate. If you don't have a jeweler saw, you can use a pair of tin snips. So I'm going to cut this out with the tin snips just to show you what it's like. So these are just like scissors, but they're designed specifically for cutting metal. So I'm going to cut to the lines. So cutting this copper, now that it's annealed, it's a bit like cutting heavy card. Okay, it's not like cutting metal, but then again, these scissors or these shears are specifically designed for cutting metal like this. So if your family has a pair of these and you want to try this, this is what's going to work really well for you. So these copper pieces that you end up with, save those because you can do different sorts of things like that. If you're going to take it back to a metal recycler, they'll pay you money for that. So then I'm going to cut this part out here. These little parts are dangerously sharp, so just be careful with those. I don't know how many times I've picked them up unintentionally because they've stuck into my skin. Okay, so there we have the rough shape of a spoon. So I'm going to clean up these outside edges just a little bit. So you can spend as much time as you like to make this perfectly round or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to go from here. So now I'm going to move over to the stump again. I'm going to show you how we start to shape this. when I like making these spoons, what I like to do is I like to texture the bowl of the spoon with hammer marks. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's just tiny little dimples on the spoon here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a hammer that has this round ball on here. Now this is kind of a hammer you can buy from an auto parts store or a tool supply. The thing that makes this one special is I've polished the faces. So see how shiny that is? Regular tools don't have these when you buy them. So I'm going to use this tool to put some marks on the bowl. Just get my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. And to tell you the truth, I love this part. Okay, so there we've got some texture on the bowl of the spoon. So now we're going to shape the handle, and we're going to curl the handle, which makes this part roundish. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. You can see the opening here where it's open a little bit and the very end. Okay, and that's because the shape of this flat part, it's thicker here than it is on the ends. So the way I do that is I use a hammer that has what we call a cross peen. And this cross peen is what I'm going to use to actually curl that. So this stump of wood is one that I use to do things like this. And right here you can see these grooves. So I'm going to use those grooves with this cross peen, and I'm going to start to curl that closed. So see how that's already started to curl like a channel? So now what I'm going to do next, but before I close it up completely, I'm just going to make sure that I soften this edge. And I'll do that with a file. So I've got a file here. So I'm just going to, and this just to make sure, because this is going to be handled, that there's nothing sharp that's going to cut your skin. It also makes it look a bit nicer. And I run my hands around that. I'm going to soften these corners. It's a bit like making jewelry, kitchen jewelry. Now I'm going to start to close this up. So I use this part of the hammer and I work right here on the stump. So what's happening now, I'll just tell you so you understand the principles of working with copper, is that after I annealed it, it's become soft. When they make the pipe, it gets hard because the metal's been moved around. It's like if you took a piece of metal, like a paper clip, you open it up, and if you bend it continuously, ultimately it's going to break because it gets work hardened. So that can happen to this as well if I work too much. But because I've done this so many times, I know exactly how much I can work this before it gets work hardened. So you can see right there that this is closed up. The important thing if you're going to do this is to try and cut these with a nice straight edge or a nice curved line, because that's going to close up a lot better. If it's really ragged, you're going to get holes in here. Okay, so that's basically the handle of the spoon. And you can see that it's curved here from all this work, and it's soft enough that you can adjust the shape. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually shape the bowl. I'm going to do a little bit more filing here because there's a point on here that makes me that I want to just get rid of. And again, because this is going to go in your mouth, if you're going to use it that way, it's a good idea to make things nice and user-friendly. And as I said before, when I use the jeweler saw, I can cut it out nice and round. You can see this one's just a little bit awkward here because I use those shears. They're not as easy to use for me as the jeweler saw. So now I'm going to shape the bowl, and I'm going to shape it right here. There's a little dish here, so I'm going to use that dish with the ball peen. So there we have a spoon made from a piece of copper pipe. So as I said, you can refine these edges as much as you like, or you can leave it like this, a bit rustic. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a package, because if you're giving these away, it's nice if they're packaged. So we're going to move over here and I'm going to show you. So last month we made some paper. We made our own paper from junk mail, and that paper, in my opinion, is kind of special because, like this, we made it. Okay, so Untrashed is all about making your own stuff from other things that people just throw away. So we made quite a few sheets of paper. Some of them I actually put leaves inside. Some of them I actually put words inside. You probably can't see that, but that says Untrashed in there. So I've designed this envelope to come out in this diamond shape. And I've done this in the past. So what I've done is I've made a template, and the template is based on the width of the paper, which is 8.5. Usually, like copy paper and things like that, they're 8.5 by 11 or 8.5 by 13 or something like that. But we're going to use a square. So I've got this. So I've got this template here. I'll just hold it up to show you. I've got this template here. It's got these marks, 8.5 by 8.5. I've got these marks here and a center line. So from here to the top is 1.5 inches. And those go to the center. So I'm going to use those marks to fold my paper. But first I'm going to cut it into a square. So I'll put my piece of paper on my template. I'm just going to take a ruler, put it on this 8.5 mark here. I'm just going to fold the paper. Use your copper spoon. You can cut this, but because this has a rough edge, I'm going to tear it. So you can see that it's got a nice soft edge there. That just adds to the look. So I'm going to put that torn edge up at the top. The other thing the other thing I created is I created a template to actually decorate the outside. So if you've chosen one side to be the decoration outside surface, you can put this in there, put this over your piece of paper, and you can mark where the outside of that envelope is going to be. So I'm just going to put a black line on here like this. So now you have the guidelines of where you can add decorations. So you can put happy holidays, you can put happy birthday, you can put happy Thursday, whatever. So that's going to go on the outside. So I put that side down, put this on my template. Then I take my ruler and I line it up with these angled lines, and I'm gonna crease the paper there. Do the other side. Crease the paper this way. So then, with those folds, I'm going to crease the paper. It's a good thing you've made your spoon, huh? So then I put this back on the template. I put my ruler on the center line. And this corner here, I'm going to fold down like this. And that's one flap. So the next one, I basically just line up this edge here with this edge here, and that basically closes up the envelope. So the only other thing is that in order to make this so something doesn't fall out, you want to seal this edge here. So you can either use tape or you can use hot glue. And then your package is ready to be used. So you can stick this in here like this. Close this up. Take your tape, and voila, you have a special present for someone that you want to do something special for. So yeah, and you can use different kinds of paper. I've made some with actually the pizza box, and it's a little bit harder to fold, but you can still do it. Okay, so that comes out. And just to let you know, in my family, it's my tradition to wrap Christmas presents in pizza box, no matter what it is, whether it's a basketball or a guitar or anything. I use a lot of pizza boxes. Now you can make them different sizes too. For the jewelry that I make these with black card, and this is cardstock that has texture, and I basically just made the same template, but it's 6 by 6. The distance from the top is a little bit smaller, and you can work that out. But basically you end up with the same thing. I've taken a gold pen, And I've written my name and my studio name here, and that just kind of makes it special. So you can use grocery bags, you can use just about any kind of paper that you can fold to do the same thing. And there you have it. That's being untrashed, you know, and just remember, every little bit of untrashed helps. Thanks for watching.